Relic Society just visited the submarine Torsk and are now going to check out the Constellation, one of only 2 remaining American sailing men of war, a very rare maritime icon.
Hi guys, Officer Whittington and Martinez of the Baltimore Inner Harbor Unit. These guys do a fantastic job, and it's our honor to have them here today, giving us the official escort.
Rock and roll horns.
What do you think of this thing? Good God, look at the height of that. Can you imagine being up on top of that?
Crow's nest.
Very neat.
He's afraid of heights.
Down the street,
You got the monkeys coming.
get the funniest looks from everyone we meet.
Hey, hey, we're the monkeys. People say we monkey around.
All right, we're here with Chris at USS Constellation. Awesome. This is what? A sloop of war? What year was this
Sloop of war
built?
built in 1854, Portsmouth, Virginia, right down at the lower end of the Chesapeake Bay.
Unbelievable. Now I see a little maintenance going on. What's
Yes.
going on here, Chris?
Well, she's a wooden ship, and freshwater, like rain and snow and ice, is sort of the bane of the existence of all wooden ships. And so what we are doing right now is basically some repairs that are necessitated by freshwater intrusion. We try and protect everything as best we can, but every now and again a problem rears its ugly head, and that's what we're up to.
Now
right
this
now.
has gone in dry dock not that long ago.
We had the ship in dry dock. Let's see, it was about 18 months ago.
Constellation has been towed to dry docks twice in the past 5 years for extensive repairs. Most recently to the U.S. Coast Guard Yard in Curtis Bay, and in 2011, along with the Torsk, to Bethlehem Steel at Sparrows Point.
Who owns it?
The city of Baltimore owns Constellation. We, as in Historic Ships in Baltimore and Living Classrooms Foundation, run the ship and actually all the historic ships here for the city.
Huge maintenance undertaking, I can imagine.
It is, and that's across the board, across the fleet. You know, if it's not wood, it's steel.
Well, we just got to see the Torsk over there.
Yeah.
And what an amazing technology, and then come here and see something built in the 1800s and the problems that you're dealing with.
Yes,
Amazing.
they're very different problems, but oftentimes they are, it's the same basic thing, we're trying to preserve. And so here we've got the special case where we're replacing wood instead of steel, like we would be on the other ships. The ship originally would have had 325 people on it. Lots of manpower to restore and preserve, and we have a crew of basically 2 plus some dedicated volunteers. And so when we're doing our preservation work, we really have to try and keep that in mind, that when we replace things, we want to replace things to last. They were very self-sufficient. Again, 325 people on board. You would have had a sailmaker on board, a carpenter on board. Again, very, very self-sufficient. You're 1,500 miles out there in the middle of the ocean, you got to know how to fix things. Nowadays, for someone like me or some of the crew like Tim and Joni, they need to be able to know how to do everything.
Right.
Whereas back in the 19th century, you had a sailmaker, and that's what he did. He wouldn't touch a board, he wouldn't be a carpenter.
Right. Now Mark here, Mark is a restoration carpenter at the Strasburg Railroad, so they're dealing with 1800s technology sometimes.
Yeah, and it's probably the same thing, same scenario with the railroads. I mean, you had people that, for tracks, right? You had people that laid the ties and laid the rails, and that was all very specialized.
We have 18 vintage wooden, 100-year-old wooden coaches, which I'm looking at this is very much what I'm up against every day. And we're always fighting with new products, trying to find woods that will match up.
Yep.
How seaworthy is this vessel?
Not very.
Okay.
She's wonderful for being here at the dock.
It's a great display piece.
Yeah.
Floats, obviously.
Yes.
But to bring her out, not only would have to all the woodwork, everything else be refitted or
there's a
ship shape, but also all the sails, that kind of stuff is a whole nother world.
There's a number of factors. First of all, she's very high on her marks right now.
Explain that to the layman.
Okay, yes. So you can see a lot of green there. That's sort of simulating the ship's original copper bottom.
Really?
She had copper sheathing on her bottom, and there's an awful lot of it showing there. That most of that would have been down in the water when she was sailing.
Just because of the ballast and the materials.
Armament, 325 men, and all of their equipment. Right. She right now is drawing or is in the water just shy of 15 feet, and she would have been 21.
Okay.
So down another 6 feet.
What sort of an impact did the ironclads and the Age of Steam have on stuff like this?
Well,
they had to be shaken in the
This
boots
was
when they
this is the last all-sail ship built for the U.S. Navy. So after this one was built, they all had some sort of auxiliary power, but they built her on purpose as all-sail because they didn't want to have her depend upon coaling stations. A steamship has to find fuel somewhere.
So here we are again, folks, trying to harness the wind. Same thing they did back in the 17 and 1800s. So was that line you always use?
You gotta go backwards to go forward.
That's right.
Living Classrooms Foundation and historic ships in Baltimore depend on dedicated volunteers and financial support to keep these American icons afloat and teaching our children valuable lessons. Go to historicships.org and be involved.